right back. So what we're going to be doing here is replacing the inlet liner on the GC. So what you want to do is you can just hit enter to reset the error. You're going to get some other errors here for the other gases because multiple gases were low. We're going to hit this option button and we're going to come down here to the very last one, AOC power. AOC is this thing, AOC 20i. It's the auto injector. And we're going to turn that off. Hit enter. And it powers down. You can see the lights off and everything is good to go. So what we can do is unplug it, put that off to the side, and we can lift this off very carefully. There we go. This is very expensive, so very carefully put that over there. And because the gases were out, everything here is pretty cool to the touch. If, let's say, the GC had just been on and the flame had been lit, this metal stuff in here is going to be extremely hot, and you want to wait about 20 minutes or so for that to cool down, unless you want to burn yourself, which I don't think you want to do. And then in this top right drawer here is kind of the GC tools and maintenance drawer. You're going to want this wrench here and this little glass thing with the glass wool and these little blue septa here. So grab those, get those ready. And this little door actually flips up. And so this is the inside of the GC. And we've got the two FIDs here. This GC is actually equipped with two of them, which is really nice. We've got various gas purifiers here and the two injection ports. The one that is currently being used is this injection port back here, and I don't know if that's 1 or 2. Looks like it's number 2. So what we're going to do is unscrew this. You want to lift it directly off because there's a little nut here that's actually loose and you don't want to lose that. And if you accidentally pull it off at an angle, this little nut might fall down into the kind of the under area here, and it could be very hard to find. We're going to take the little septum off. You might hear a little bit of a hiss, nothing to be alarmed about. And then we're going to take our wrench here and very carefully unscrew this nut. And it's a little challenging because you've got these alignment posts here. So you kind of have to do a little bit at a time. There we go. And you can just pull this out of the way, nothing special. And then in the same drawer I have this little pair of tweezers. And you want to be a little careful here because you don't want to break anything, but what you're going to see is a little glass piece here with a little O-ring on it. And what you want to do is grab that with the tweezers and just pull straight up. Don't go at any angles, just pull straight up until you get this glass piece out. This is the inlet liner. I'm gonna save this O-ring. Okay, so basically, you know, what this is a little filter. We've got some of that glass wool in here. You can see the top of it is a little bit discolored. And what happens is when a sample is injected, it comes through this tube, and any solids or non-volatiles will get deposited on this piece of glass wool. So it's essentially a filter. And because this tube is extremely hot, whatever solvent is being used for the injection, so if you have your sample dissolved in chloroform or ethyl acetate or acetonitrile or methanol, whatever solvent it is, it's going to immediately vaporize. And so anything that's non-volatile is going to deposit right here on this glass wool and not go into the column. So that saves the column from you know, metals, salts, or other very high boiling things that might not ever come out, which of course you don't want those to be going into the column. So we actually reuse these, so do not throw this away. And I always grab a pipette. This is perfect for getting the little glass wool piece out. There it is. And what you want to do is you want to inspect this and see if it's dirty or anything like that. And I would actually recommend just giving it a little bit of a wash. So for that, we can find the nearest acetone. Now as these get older, what's going to start to happen is there's going to be some permanent discoloration on the glass. But this one's pretty new, so things are looking pretty good here. Now we can get some new glass wool. And you want to make sure you save your pipette here because we're going to use that again. There we go. And just push it down to where the little divots are. You don't need to push it all the way, and I usually push back a little bit from the other side. And this could use just a little bit more. There's no exact science to it. You don't need exactly a certain amount or whatever, but about that much. Okay, this is ready to go back in, so we're going to put this O-ring back. And just have it at the top like this. Here we want to grab it with the tweezers again, make sure you have it sturdy. And you want to lower it straight down, no angles. The last thing you want to do is break that in half when it's in there. So that means we're going to be calling someone to come out here and help us fix it. We also need a new septum. Just gonna put this back on. As for tightness, we don't want to go too crazy on this, just finger tight. And then we'll put our new septum on here, and you can kind of squash it down, and you'll see there's a little hole on there, a little indentation, and there's a little indentation on the bottom of this that will go right on top. And again, that's just sitting there, it's loose, so be very careful not to knock it off. Screw that back on, and again, finger tight. And now for the hardest part, getting this thing back on here. So if you look at the bottom of this thing, it's got these holes, and these are supposed to align with 4 of these. So you just have to keep trying. Okay. And it shouldn't rock too much once it's on there. This cord has a little arrow on it that lines up with the arrow here. And since we took that little septum off, we got more errors here. You can just reset those by hitting enter. We can turn back the auto sampler, turn that back on. Okay. And it says AOC link okay, everything's good. So to actually power the GC back on, we're gonna hit monitor, this Mon-It button. And that just brings us back to the main screen here. So to turn the GC back on, we're gonna hit system, and we're gonna hit down here this option PF1, start GC. You can hit Mon-It again to go back to that main screen. And then what we can do next is turn the detector on. So the detector's already on, but the main thing we need to do here is ignite. So PF1. And sometimes you can actually hear it lighting the flame. You can hear a little popping noise. All right, ignition finished. We've got 2 green lights. That means everything's ready. And to just confirm that the FID has been lit, you can look here at the little flame icon, and it's filled in. When the flame is not lit, this is a little dashed flame, but we have a solid flame icon and everything is good. So we got 3 green lights. I always do a 0 adjust, and this is ready for some samples. One last thing you want to do is you can push this over. Check our rinsing solvent. So this is the waste, and the way you can tell that is it's really colored. This is our fresh solvent. So I'm going to refill that. We use ethyl acetate. Okay. And since we pushed this little vial holder off its normal track, what we want to do is hit this red reset button, and it resets its location. Ready to go.